I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. All the colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of the people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying how do you do. They're really saying I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I ever knew. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. All the colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of the people passing by. I see friends shaking hands, saying how do you do. They're really saying I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Thank you, Catherine. Catherine Archer, everybody. Well, gosh, it's good to see all of you here today. This is like 20 times more people than I thought would come out on this rainy day. So I am glad you're here for our burning bowl and white stone ceremony. So you'll need a couple of things. You'll need a pen, a felt marker, a piece of flash paper, and a stone. So if you have all of those things, I'll explain to you as we go through. There is participation in this, and so I'll walk you through it. It'll be really nice. This is our most popular service of the year. It's unfortunate that we're in this situation. Normally, that auditorium would be packed. We'd have about 150 people. So we're doing what we can with what we have. And that's all Spirit ever asks of us, to do the best we can with what's in front of us, and better will come. So that's what we're doing here this morning. Now, before we get going, I just have one announcement, and that is I need you to keep a couple of people in prayer. We have several people who have contracted the virus. Linda Lewis is one. Dolores Ellison is in critical condition. She's in the hospital, and so we want to keep her in prayer. Jim Assalta, he tells me he's 90% better, so keep him in prayer. And Joy Hamp's husband, he's has it, but he's doing quite well. Joy had to talk him out of washing the boat this week, so he's doing all right. But we want to keep them all in prayer because it's a very tricky virus. It has many avenues. And we want to also be sure that we stay safe ourselves. So just keep that in mind. All right, to get us going, Jim, why don't you come up and do an opening treatment for us?
Good morning. When we refer to a treatment, we're referring to a positive spiritual prayer. So if you'll go with me and close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and just kind of relax. And what I'd like you to do is to feel the presence that's right here. We teach that there is one divine intelligence, and it is present everywhere. It's present in a rainy parking lot or in a great cathedral. It is a divine intelligence that's within us, outside of us, and is always helping us. So we use this idea of a divine intelligence within me to know the truth, to know that these people that Ken has mentioned are in the process of healing, that we ourselves are in the process of healing, both physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And we know that this divine intelligence is filled with love and compassion and beauty. And so we see that in our lives every day. The love of one another, the beauty of the earth, and the divine intelligence that's within us. So I give thanks for each person here that has made it this morning. I give thanks for the divine intelligence that guides us and teaches us. And I give thanks for Ken and the Center for Spiritual Living for giving us a place to come where we can learn and be with like-minded people and learn to be more compassionate, loving, and sharing. So I give thanks for all these things, and I know that this divine intelligence will guide me through the weeks and months to come. And I can release this prayer to be so simply by saying, and so it is.
Thank you, Jim. If you'd like a personalized treatment, Jim will be happy to do that for you. There's a little gold box over there. You can fill out a card and just briefly tell Jim what you would like a prayer for, and he'll do a prayer for you during the week. So that's a big, powerful thing to do. All right, let's have some wonderful music from Catherine. Catherine, what do you have for us?
It's a song called 3 Steps Forward. And it's all about moving forward despite obstacles, and but we still have to look back and see where we've been. So it's 3 steps forward, 1 step back, but we always keep moving towards the horizon, right? And this is an original that's in my children's book that was just released. 3 steps forward, 1 step back. Sometimes it's necessary to retrace your tracks. While where you're going matters the most. Knowing where you come from helps you not get lost. I've got some pain in my past. It's part of who I am today. life's an ocean that ebbs and flows, sunny skies above and perils down below. There'll be islands and coral reefs, harbors to rest your heart if you hold to your beliefs. I've got some pain in my past. It's part of who I am today. Made adjustments to my past, and I've chosen my own way. Raise a tree by the splinter canal, hang on tight to the mainstay. Got a good breeze just the right amount, and you're blowing us forward all day. Trade winds are blessing my back. Brand new horizon in my sight. Hands on the helm while I tag towards a future blazing bright. Oh, 3 steps forward, 1 step back. Sometimes it's necessary to retrace your tracks. While where you going matters the most. Knowing where you come from helps you not get lost.
Full. Thank you, Catherine. I like that a lot. So today we have our burning bowl ceremony. Let me get my clicker. And it's about consciously choosing what it is that we want to release, and then consciously choosing what it is that we want to bring into our lives. And this is very important because a lot of humanity stays on automatic pilot. And this is where we really get in trouble, where we are just, Dr. Holmes called it getting affixated to race consciousness, just going along with the flow, just going along with what they say. Because if you live your life according to what they say there are no good ones out there. They say after 60, your life goes downhill. They say it's a terrible time to open a business. You don't want to do that. You want to consciously choose. This is what I'm releasing. This is what I'm bringing into my life. And it's very powerful. And that's what we're here to do today. And we're wanting to do it with spirit. We're wanting to say, okay, God, I'm dreaming large enough that I need you in my life to release an old idea and to hold on with a better one. And I can't think of a better year to do that than 2021. 2020 was quite the year for most of us. You know, almost for 10 months now, we've been in kind of a whirlwind where we didn't know where to put our feet down. We didn't know how to make plans about moving ahead. In Dante's Divine Comedy, which is one of the most mislabeled works of art of all time because it's nowhere close to being a comedy, his first level of hell that he gets to is a whirlwind. And it's souls caught up in a whirlwind and they have no stability. And that's what we've experienced for the past 10 months. But now we have a vaccine coming through. It's going to be coming in the next couple of months. And now we are in a place where we can start consciously deciding, this is what I want. And this is what I'm ready to let go of. Because it's a let going and a pulling in. Now, before we get to that place, I want to caution you, because my intuition tells me that for the maybe next 60 days, there may be more of this turmoil than we have experienced. Sometimes an old energy, when it's leaving your life, as it's headed out the door, it's really going to give you a burst of drama just to let you know it's headed out. I can't tell you the number of times I've known somebody who was really releasing a bad habit or an addiction. And right when they've made the decision, they're getting rid of that terrible thing in their life, some other part of their life blows up. You know, we have out in our patio, we have a little tabletop fireplace that burns off of rubbing alcohol. and it'll burn for maybe an hour and a half. And it'll slowly, slowly go down. And right before it goes out, it will have this burst, and then it puts itself out. So we may be in that cycle. Then the next month or so, we may see some more turmoil. But do not be dismayed. We've come this far. The horizon is breaking a new dawn. We're stepping in a new possibilities, and it's going to be bright. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be dynamic. It's going to be better than we've ever imagined. God has such great possibilities for us. We've held this pent-up energy for 10 months, and when it gets time for us to release it, it's going to break out in a new economy. You're going to see money flowing, building, opportunities, great new adventures for us. You know, one of the things that happened when we had the epidemic of 1918, what happened after we got through that epidemic? We went into a decade, the 20s, the roaring 20s, where things really expanded. That's what's about to happen for our nation and for our world. We're getting ready to see a new wave of creative energy, of abundance and prosperity and health. We've done something amazing. Just within 10 months, we've taken on this virus, which is really very perplexing and confounding and deadly. And our scientists have been able to come up with a way that we can prevail over this virus. So there is great intelligence, and we can put that to work to solve all sorts of problems and to make our lives really wonderful and joyful, because this is what God has sent us to life to do, to enjoy our lives, to love life. You're here to know the very best for yourself, to know how important you are, how loved you are, how valued you are, and to witness God supporting you and bringing the best of you to life. And that's what's going to happen in 2021. It's a perfect time today to release of an idea that may be holding you back. And it can be just something just simple, but it can have power over you. You know, at Christmas time, what we decided to do, since we couldn't, normally at Christmas time, our house is flooded with hundreds of people on Christmas Day because our center goes down to the nursing homes and gives out presents and sings Christmas carols. And then we have everybody come back to the house and the neighbors come over. So Christmas Day, we'll have 100 or so people come in the house. This Christmas, it was just the two of us. So we decided what we would do is we would cook some of our old childhood favorites, you know, things that for me, I hadn't had since Mom died almost 30 years ago. So I got out Mom's cookbook. I had never attempted to cook any of Mom's stuff because my mom would not tolerate anyone in her kitchen. And she certainly didn't trust me with a sharp knife. So no one was ever trained to cook her stuff. But we do have her recipes. So I got them out. I started working on them. I was convinced I wouldn't be able to, to handle it. About midway through one of them, one of the ingredients was a crushed sleeve of Ritz crackers. And it dawned on me, any recipe that contains a crushed sleeve of Ritz crackers, I can handle. That I can deal with. So it may be just releasing a simple idea of something that's holding you back. I don't have energy. It's not the right time. I'm too old. I'm a woman. I'm a male. Whatever. Time to let that go and bring a better idea to life. So the flash paper, we're going to write down what it is that we want to let go of. It may be one idea, it may be a person, it may be a place, it may be a situation. You could even write down a symbol. You could write down a sad face. I want to let go of sadness. And then just put that down. Now, you don't have to write a whole novel. Spirit knows what it is that you need to release in life. And here's the other important thing to remember. The power in this ceremony comes from your accepting it. God already knows what you need to release. There's not power in the paper. There's not even power in the candle. The power is in you accepting the idea. I am ready to turn this thing loose. I've played with it long enough, and I'm not going to put any more power into it. And you know what happens when you do that? When you turn loose of a negative thing, when you get a couple of months down the line, you start saying to yourself, well, gosh, that was no problem. It was never a problem anyway. It was never a problem in the mind of God. It was only a problem in your thinking. Almost, gosh, it's going on 9 years now when we came down to St. Augustine, Florida, Tom and I. To come down, we had to get one of those big, huge trucks. We rented a big truck to haul our stuff down. And that's what had scared me most about making the journey, was driving that truck from Atlanta to here. I was terrified of getting through Atlanta traffic with this big, huge, basically a semi-trailer truck. And we went to the Hertz rental, and I was there in the office waiting for doing all the paperwork. The little lady behind the counter, she was just big as a minute, they would say. Tiny little lady, tiny little African-American lady, had great personality. She just exuded charm and joy and humor, every wonderful thing. And so when they got ready to bring the truck around, she was the one that brought it around. And she pulled that truck out from almost like a little puzzle piece of these big, huge trailers. She whipped that puppy out going 60 miles an hour, screeched up to the curb right there in front of me. And I thought to myself, now, if she can do it, I can do it. And you know what? It was no trouble at all. It wasn't really the most comfortable drive, but it's no trouble. So now we want to go into that consciousness of what it is that we want to release. And we're going to write it down on the paper. I'm going to do an affirmative prayer here shortly for you. You're going to write it down on the paper. You're going to bring the paper up, how to give people social distancing. You're going to come up to the flame. Now, here's the key about this. You're going to take your paper and you're going to light it to the flame, and you're going to turn it loose. Let it go. Let it go. I'm not chasing anyone around the parking lot with a fire extinguisher. Let it go. Give it over to God. Don't talk about it. Don't think about it. Turn it over to Spirit. And when you do, because we're humans, it's natural. Your consciousness may bubble, let it bubble up again. When you do, deliberately say, I'm not playing this anymore. I'm turning this over to God. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to be fearful of it. I'm not going to give it 1 ounce of my energy. I've already given it too much energy. I'm turning it over to Spirit. And here now, consciously, I'm going to pivot, and I'm going to think of a better idea. I'm going to think of what I want to bring into my life, what I'm going to pull into my life. And this is a place of great power. When you consciously move from a negative idea about yourself and you switch over to a positive idea about yourself, this is a place of, so almost think of a boomerang. When you make that turn, you're going to jettison to more strength, more energy, and more power. Because you see, with the negative, all the negative had was the energy of your fear and your worry. The positive has all the creative energy of the universe. And when we are thinking and putting energy in the positive, we've hooked on to a rocket of God's possibilities and potentials in our lives. So that's what we're going to do here today. We're going to turn loose of that which has been holding us back, and we're going to put ourselves on a rocket of God's potentials and possibilities. So let's start off with releasing something. So just go into treatment with me. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable with it. But just know this truth with me today. There's but one God, one mind, and one power. And that power is perfect love. It's divine intelligence. That power shows up in my life as my best ideas. So here now, I know Spirit is urging me to turn loose of a situation, a habit, a thought, an idea, a person, a condition that I've held on to long enough. Here today, I imagine myself standing in a wonderful, beautiful hot air balloon filled with wonderful bright light, getting ready to take off. And all that's needed is for me to dump over one last bag of cement. And I'm ready to let it go. I'm ready to soar the heights. I'm ready to fly with God to the greater possibilities of myself, knowing that nothing with God and I is impossible. So here today, I see this bag of cement and I'm saying goodbye to it. You've held me down long enough. God and I have places to soar. We have heights to see. We have mountains to explore. And just envision yourself heaving that bag over and saying goodbye. And with it, you soar to the sky. So when you're ready, take your pen and flash paper. Write down a symbol, a word, whatever you need on that paper to let your consciousness know you're ready to soar with God. And when you're ready, come up to the flame and release your small idea to God.
Chimney tops, that's where you will find me. Oh, somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly over that rainbow. Why? Oh, then why can't
Thank you, Catherine. That was lovely. You want to...
Ocean whale. Okay, do I have to actually write it? I have to put a wish on it. Okay.
Perfect. So we've made some room for ourselves. We've cleared out some space. Now we want to bring in something. And so we're going to write on the stone something we want to attract. And here's what you do. You write on that stone, and then you leave that stone in a prominent place in your house. Maybe a place where you see it when you're making coffee, or you're headed out to the door. Some place that you can remind yourself of this idea and continue to put energy into this idea. Now, it may be for a big idea, because sometimes we get ourselves in situations that we need a big something, one something. If you're in the hospital, health is what you want. If you're unemployed, a job is what you want. But for me, where I am at in my place of life, what I like to do is I like to have several things that I'm working on. I want to have some small things. I want to have some larger things. And then I want to put a big something into mine. Because you can't box spirit in. You're not going to limit spirit. So you want to have something really big and really huge in your life that you want to attract. And, way back, I think it was last year, I was joking with all of y'all because I had just published my book, and a part of my book has got Dolly Parton in it. Well, I sent Dolly Parton a book. Well, she never got back to me. Well, boo-hoo. Put something else in mind. There's Jane Fonda. There's, there are lots of people out there. So if your big idea doesn't come along, put another big idea out there. Keep dreaming, and God will surprise you. And perhaps even a bigger idea than you've imagined. So for me, what I'm working on right now, I have three ideas. One that I can accomplish. One that I know I can pretty much handle myself. But of course, it's always nice to have spirit working for you. So my first idea is what I would really love to do this coming year. I'd like to get back into the gym. I really enjoyed the gym I was going to. They have coaches there that really are able to encourage me to get in good shape. So that's what I want to do in 2021. Now, I'm not going back to the old gym I was going to, because that was full of a lot of 20-year-old coaches that were out to try to fend the Social Security payroll and kill old people like me. So I'm going to go to a gym that has a little bit more understanding of a 60-year-old body, because God never repeats itself. God is always growing and expanding. So don't necessarily envision what you had, envision something even greater. So that's my first. That's something I can pretty sure I can handle on my own. The second thing that I'm treating for this coming year is I've just gotten my doctoral thesis off to the doctoral panel. Now, talking somebody into giving me a title of doctor, that's going to require some work from spirit. That's probably not something I'm going to be able to handle all on my own. I'm going to need some energy for the universe for that to happen. And so I do what I need to do, and then I put that into the mind of God. I don't worry about it. I don't obsess over it. I don't really pin all my hopes and dreams on it. If I get it, it'll be wonderful. If it doesn't come through, guess what? I wasn't a doctor before. I lived without being a doctor. They don't give me a prescription pad, so it's like there's not a lot of benefits for it. I'll be okay. Would it be nice to have Sure. Not that I'm going to require anybody around here to call me Dr. Kent. I don't need that. His High Holiness has this nice ring to it, but we don't need that either. So that's the second thing, something that I can participate in, but something a little bit larger, Spirit's going to have a role in. And then you want to put a big, powerful idea in mind, something that would be wonderful and dynamic, amazing. So when I think of what I would really like to envision for 2021, the thing that most comes to me is I want to see our center back open and growing and thriving. I want to see 150 people in that auditorium hugging and loving one another, supporting and encouraging one another. I'd love to see our choir bigger than before, singing out their hearts out, singing out their souls out. I want to see our Venus Manley Scholarship Program. This is where we give out scholarships to kids with special needs. I'd like to see us double the amount of kids that we give that out to and support them throughout their educational process. We have our Elizabeth Clare program where we give out grants to women who are fleeing violence. I'd like to see us be able to mentor them throughout their educational process so we can get them independent and get them thinking, business-wise, where they know that they don't have to rely on anybody but their own intelligence and God's help, and they can get out and support themselves and support their family. And I would like to see us growing and thriving. Why shouldn't we be able to have 2 services full of 150 people? Why shouldn't we own our own building or something even greater? Don't box God in. When I was a little bit younger, I had been trained by one of the parties to run political campaigns. And they talked me into going out to Lincoln, Nebraska to run a political campaign. I should have switched political parties at that time, honestly, but I was in Lincoln, Nebraska. And I was living in the basement of one of the big supporters of this politicians. And the only thing I could think about was getting back to D.C. And when I got back to D.C., I wanted to have a basement apartment of my own with a fireplace, a VCR, and a dog. That was my dream. A basement apartment in one of the row houses in D.C. I didn't need sunshine. I would be happy just living in the ground like a snake. That's all I dreamt of. When I got back to D.C., the campaign didn't win. So I got back to D.C., I was scrambling for a job. I didn't have the money to get an apartment on my own. I had to move in with 3 people I didn't know very well. But it was a large group house, is what we called it back then. It had a deck, kind of. You had to crawl through a window. And on this deck, you could look out to the dome of the Capitol, the U.S. Capitol. So I lived in a place where I could look at the dome of the U.S. Capitol. And one of the 3 people I lived with was one of the most encouraging, amazing people you've ever met. He could really envision the best of everyone. And he would often tell me, he would say, Ken, he said, you need a job where you encourage people to live their best life. Now think of that. I was a press secretary was what I was wanting to be, but he saw something better for me, and he actually envisioned the very job I have today. So what I'm telling you all this is for, you might think that you're okay to live in a hole, but God wants you to live with a vision of your greatest possibility. God wants to lift you up to the very clouds. Don't box God in. You are too loved. You're too valuable. You're too necessary. And now is too critical of a time for you to hold back. Dream your biggest dream possible and put it out there. Now's the time for you to know the very best for yourself, that you're loved, you're important, you're valuable. There's a breaking dawn of God's possibilities, and we're the ones to stand up and saying, yes, that new day is for me. That new day is my new day. I'm grabbing hold of it, and God and I are soaring to the very sky. So when you get ready, just write down on your paper what it is or write down on your stone, what it is you want to have, and then we'll do a closing treatment. So write on your stone what it is you want to have. When you're ready, place it over your heart, and we'll do a last treatment. Thank you, Catherine. So let's link our hopes and dreams and desires with God. So as you have your stone over your heart, just know this truth with me, that here, right now, I'm ready to take off. I'm ready to soar to the very sky. I'm here to know without a bit of doubt that God is with me, that God directs my step, that God helps me lift my eyes to a better knowing for myself. I'm here to know that that thing which I desire, the health, the love, the prosperity, the joy, the friendship, the great things of life, that God has gifted me that desire, and there's a way for it to flow into my life easily. There's a way for even better than that to flow into my life. So here today, I've let go of everything that's holding me back. God and I are ready for an adventure, and I know 2021 is the year of my rebirth. It's the year when I know that I am doing something wonderful and joyful and loving and important, that God is raising me up over any idea of lack or limitation. I've played with those ideas long enough. Spirit is raising me up to know my strength, to know my courage, to know how wonderful I am. And today I am saying yes to it. Today I embrace all the goodness that I know is me. Today I am saying yes to all the wonderful love and joy that God had in mind when it prayed me into existence. This is my truth. I celebrate this right knowing God won't have it any other way, and neither will I. I release this prayer into the mind of God to do its good and perfect, bold and dynamic work, returning to me multiplied abundantly. And together we say, and so it is.
I can see clearly now the rain has gone. I can see all obstacles in my way.
It is going to be a bright, sunshiny day, and you and God are going to make it possible. So I'm going to leave you with one final thought. Your life is not a problem to be solved. It's a miracle unfolding. Your job this year is to go name your miracle, to proclaim your miracle, and to make it your own. God bless us all. Now let us go be the miracle God has called us to be. This is Reverend Ken. Until we see each other again, many blessings.
In the middle of the sea, I'll sail the world to find you. And if you ever find yourself lost in the dark and you can't see, oh, I'll be the light to guide you. Find out what we're made of when we are called to help our friends in need. Like 1, 2, 3, I'll be there. And I know when I need it, you can count on me. Like 4, 3, 2, you'll be there. 'Cause that's what friends are supposed to do. Oh, 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 yeah. Count on me and I can count on you.
Great job. Who's this little guy?